next up, we have Alle. Come on up, Alle. And did you have slides? Perfect. The green arrow is to click through. And then, okay, thank you so much. So we have Alle. She's the top selling creator in the US on TikTok Shop. Woo! She generated nearly 36 million in GMV. Yeah, she is the queen.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear all about it.
Okay, let's see. Okay, we're working. Bear with me because I have things on my phone today. I'm not very prepared with note cards, but I like to yap if you guys are in my community, so you know. But hi, guys. My name is Alle. I've been doing TikTok Shop for almost going on 3 years now. This will be my third Black Friday. I also run a community over 600 creators that I teach every week. And I just consistently sell. I have over 3 accounts. I have one that focuses on fashion, one that focuses on beauty, and one that focuses on food. So that's kind of how I generated $36 million in GMV, is having all of those niche down verticals, which is something that I will get into on the next slide. All right, so I know that there is a lot of lore about kind of TikTok Shop and how to get to the top, and I just want to let you guys all know, I mean, almost 3 years ago now, I was working for Amazon in the HR department. I was a kind of a stay-at-home, work-at-home mom, and I was like barely making $2,000 a month, and I knew that I wanted to get into something that was going to give me enough kind of generational wealth and something that's going to continue to create an income where I could stay at home, because they were wanting to bring us back into the office. And I have started with TikTok before TikTok Shop was a thing. Johnny, does the slide work? I don't think this is the right one. But I was in TikTok Shop before, kind of in the beta program, but before that I did a program that was called TTCC, and it was basically making UGC ads for digital brands. So it was people on the App Store, so different games, different things like that. And this was when TikTok had introduced this program. And so I was doing that from home and working at Amazon at the same time. So I really learned how to create a selling ad for a download. And at that time, TikTok introduced products, and they wanted us to start selling products on these UGC ads. And I remember when that first started, and I was like, no one wants to sell products. Why would we go from selling digital downloads, which doesn't cost anyone anything, to selling a product that is going to, take money from them? It doesn't make sense. And this is kind of like why I stress so much about listening to TikTok and listening to what they have to say, because when you need to pivot, you need to pivot. And I think that's what a lot of people tend to fail when they're in TikTok, is that they don't know when to pivot, and they want to hold on to something because they want it to work for so long, and they don't tend to pivot. So once they started learning about products, I was like, all right, I'll start learning how to sell a product. And what do you know, 6 months later, they introduced TikTok Shop. So if I could give you guys any piece of advice, it's listen to TikTok, because they give you bits and pieces, and they tell you like, hey, we're gonna do this. And a lot of people don't like to listen to it, but eventually they pivot to something else, and that's where you learn, that's where I should have started doing it in the first place. So one day I started making a video for TikTok Shop, and I think I made like $5,000 off the first video, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is something that I can continue to do. And I remember like my parents being like, how are you making this much money? You have to be doing OnlyFans or something like that. And I'm like, no, I remember my dad sending my mom a video of like our ring lights in our house, and he's like, something's going on here. And I'm like, no, I promise you, like, I'm selling products. Just because a lot of people don't know, like, you can make so much money in this. And so eventually, I told them, this is what I do. My parents would watch my ads, and it's turned into looking at it from a hobby to looking at it from a business perspective. So that is like my biggest thing, is you want to take TikTok Shop and you don't want to look at it. Of course, it's something fun to do, and of course, it's a hobby, but you really want to take that hobby and you want to make it a business. You want to look at it from that perspective. Otherwise, it's not going to be something long term. It's really, really scalable, and it can completely transform your life. So since then, since I took that opportunity and really dove dove in on spending a lot of my time and effort into it. I've generated over $36 million in GMV, and then I started a community. It's called Rise Now, where I teach all my friends on how to do things like that. And when I tell you I was a girl who was addicted to my phone, I really was. Like, I remember having a serving job and getting in trouble because I would go to the back and be on my phone the entire time. And now I think, like, now they're probably looking at me like there was a reason why she was on your phone. So I took my phone addiction and my phone hobby and really made something out of it. And if I can, you can too. So the biggest shift for me was changing about how I thought about TikTok Shop. And I do a lot of like FaceTime style content and no call to actions. And I make it look like a hobby, but everything that I do is looked at from a business perspective. And I started paying not attention to the video itself, but how the platform functions. Because once you start looking at the platform, you start looking long term. If you're just looking at how your videos are doing in the moment and what's trending in the moment, you're just gonna make money in that moment. You're not gonna create something that's scalable and is going to be long term, which is the goal. Yes, it's great to make a random video that makes you $10,000, but 6 months later, are you still making the money that you were making off that $10,000 video? You wanna create something so you are consistently making 6 figures a month, in the TikTok Shop world, and it's all about leaning into the platform, not fighting it. And I noticed, after doing all this research, that the creators who are doing well in TikTok Shop are creators who have adapted to the platform and have continuously heard what TikTok has had to say and started shifting. So that's why you use these data analytics like FastMoss, and you see where things are trending, because that is where you have to, be an early adapter and continue. So in January of this year, if anyone had like a TikTok manager, they were called SPMs at the time, you would realize that you would have a manager that managed a whole bunch of different girls in different areas. So they had home creators, they had beauty creators, they had fashion creators. And starting in January, you got assigned to a specific manager that managed your, like, what you do best in. So in January, that's when we started learning, okay, if TikTok is telling us we're getting new managers because I'm in the beauty field, I'm getting a beauty manager, why are they doing this? So in January, we started to learn, like, at least on my end, okay, it looks like they're starting to niche down accounts. And this was something that I told to all my creators, and I told them continuously, TikTok is looking to niche down everyone's account. And at the time, everyone was doing great, kind of doing products on different things. They were just taking anything that was launching on TikTok Shop, and they were making viral videos off of it, and they were making great money. Why would they niche down if they were making good money? Now we see in Q4, if you don't niche down, you're not gonna be successful. And yes, there's still accounts that are doing well, doing a little bit of everything, but what I call it and what you should kind of transition to it, and at least in this Q4 period, is the 70-20-10 rule. So you're gonna do 60-20-10, 70-20-10, 60-20-10, if my math's right. Usually we do 7-30, which is 70% of what your field is. So if you are a beauty creator, 70% beauty, but 30% is gonna be like a subcategory of fashion. So anything that relates to your main field, but is something else that you can dive into. Going into Q4, we do the 60-20-10. So you're going to do, your 60% of the thing that's currently doing well for you. So if you look at your verticalization, now that TikTok Shop has launched, if you look up creator picks, you can find your verticalization, which is what we've been preaching since January of this year. And that is why it's so important to kind of lean into it when it's happening, because everyone who leaned into that niching down and that verticalization is starting to do well now because they adapted early and they figured it out. Like, okay, TikTok wants us to do this, even though it doesn't make sense, we're gonna start doing it. So now people who haven't done that or they didn't want to do it, they're kind of now scrambling. And there's still time going into Q4, but they're kind of having to shift their whole ideology and all of their plans for Q4 right now when it should have been thought about, months and months ago. And so I talk about how right now you want to do your evergreen stuff. So the stuff that you are doing well in right now, whatever's working for you, continue to do that. The other 20%, you're going to do your subcategories. So fashion or something that relates. If you're doing home, then it could be pet. If you're doing pet, it could be tech, because there's a lot of tech and pet stuff. So anything that kind of relates. And then that other 10% is going to be random things that are going to do really viral on the platform. So even if you weren't a food creator and Dubai chocolate went really, really big, that would be your 10%, because that's something that's currently blowing up, or it's starting to get its end now, but that was something that was blowing up. So you want to be able to do that 10% of a random thing that's going to do super well for you. So it could be a gift that everyone wants this year. It could be the crinkle bag bags, because those do really well. Even though it's not in your niche and not in your category, it's still a part of that 10% of something that you could make a viral video on and make, you know, a random $20,000, but you still have your core beauty products, your core whatever that's making you consistent money, and those are the viral videos that are going to give you that peak, but you're going to still have that income that you are used to every single month. And so that's kind of what I call my Q4 playbook, is the 70-20-10, and just knowing where to place yourself and at what time. So you want to make sure that you are finding those random viral products, but you're not, your whole page isn't all random viral products, because you're not going to be able to have a consistent income when you have one random viral video every 3 months on a trending product. So stick with your core, add in the subcategory, and then do the random things that are going to do well for gifts. So I talk a lot about, like, that 10% can be how you position, this is the gift that you should get your mom, or hey, I bought this for my mom, but I'm going to actually keep it for yourself. Like, I just had a couple months ago during the summer that hat fan that had the fans built into it. As a beauty creator, why would I ever do a random video on a hat fan? But it was something that was just launched that was going to do well, that, you know, could potentially go viral. So I took a chance on it and it went viral. So it's all about finding that balance. If you find something that's not in your niche, but you think it's going to kill it, do a video on it, but keep your main category, keep all your videos, you know, kind of categorized, and don't be afraid to do that random 10%. Because that main GMV is going to come from your core evergreen products. And especially like with it being the cozy season. So you're going to have, you know, random, if you never do fashion, but you want to randomly do the coziest set that you're going to get yourself for Christmas, it probably will do well. So it's all about learning where the platform is going and what items are trending, and not making it completely all these different things on your channel, but having that, you know, randomness that's going to end up making you random viral videos. So it kind of contradicts itself, but going into this quarter, 70-20-10. And start thinking ahead of like what's going to be doing well. I know everyone's focused on Cyber Monday, Black Friday, and it is so important to start making all of those videos now. And I know like it's really easy to be burnt out in this season, but all the videos right now, we're seeing kind of a lull in the platform, but all the videos that you put out right now are going to be the ones that go viral Black Friday, Cyber Monday. It's not going to be the videos that you make the week of. It's going to be all that content that you know, 2 months ago we're putting out, and you're like, why is my account doing so bad? I'm not doing any good numbers. I don't have any viral videos. Randomly, the week of Black Friday, one of those videos could, you know, make you a random $30,000. You never know. So it's easy to give up in that moment when you have nothing that's doing well on your page, when you feel like you haven't figured out the algorithm, when you feel like you need a change or you need to adapt. But those could be the videos that end up going viral during those random sales, during, you know, 3 months later even. I have videos that are still my first shop videos that are still selling consistently these days, even though I made them 2.5 years ago. So it's really about turning those one-off into long-term plays. And if you've sold well for a brand this quarter, like, show them proof, message them, say, hey, you know, let's keep this going into January. Really get those retainer deals done now, because once that Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas wears off, where are you going to be left at in January? Are you going to be not making, you know, good enough money because you were just doing random viral products? So really lean into the brands, lean into making connections with those brands so that you can continue to show them, hey, this is what I did for you. Let's have a retainer deal going into January. Hey, you know, going into December, a lot of these brands that you end up going viral with, you're going to make more videos for them anyways. So why don't you reach out to them and get one of those retainer deals, or get a collaboration with them where you're making them a certain amount of videos per month for a certain amount of money, because you're going to be making those videos anyways. Why not get paid for them? And now you're doubling your income. So it's all about finding all those different ways within the platform and listening to them on how you can. But Q4, I think, really isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about being smart with what you already have and what works, and testing it strategically and using that momentum to carry you into Q1. And if you want to go to the next slide about Rise. So if you guys are here, we have a booth for Rise now. I have one of my best friends here, but I taught her almost a year ago on how to do TikTok shop, and now she's an L5 creator. She's making $500,000 in GMV a month. So there really is a lot that you can learn from the platform. And I tell everyone all the time, join a whole bunch of different communities, because when you listen to, say, like 5 people that you really admire, you join their community, you learn from them, you want to take all those bits and pieces from each one of those mentors, each one of those communities, and you want to use that information in order to catapult yourself. You can't just learn from me and be successful. You need to learn from every single community that's out there, every single mentor who loves what they do and has high GMV, and then you need to take all that information you learned and create it into one, like your own person. I mean, when I started TikTok, I asked probably 30 successful people different tips and tricks, then use those to kind of spur and help my career. So it's all about learning from a whole bunch of different people, but we do have a booth. It's at C21. It's kind of in the corner over there, where we talk about our community. So if you guys ever want to learn or you ever want to join in, you guys can stop over there. We'll be there today. But thank you guys so much for listening to me babble. I just love to yap. But thank you guys for showing up today, and I will see you guys later.
Thank you, Allie.